Okay. 100% true story. Cross my heart. Don't laugh, Gene. I was at the post office a couple of days right here in Elizabethtown. And if you've ever been in there, you know that there's this really tiny lobby within another lobby. And I was there with 12 of my closest friends crammed into that lobby. And we were doing that whole, like, you go in the door, no, I'll wait outside, no, you go in, and everybody's trying to hold their packages while at the same time being on their phones, and grumpiness ruled the day. Everybody was cranky. We realized that it was totally last minute. We should have done this 2 days ago or 2 weeks ago, and so there we were. We were grouchy about how they only had one counter open when there's two perfectly good counters there, right? We were grumpy that the line wasn't moving faster. Why did it take so long? And so there was one kind-hearted soul in that little lobby as we were all cozied in there who said, "Oh, I know. We should sing a carol." Well, everybody who had their phones, if they could have literally crawled right into their phones, they would have done it. But of course, that wasn't an option. So everybody ignored him. And I felt terrible. And so I said, I wanted to give him a way out. So I said, ha ha ha, jokingly, why don't you start us off? On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me. He literally started singing. When he got to the end of the first verse, he paused for a minute just to see if anybody else might take that as the opportunity to join in. They didn't. He got all the way to day 4. On the 4th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me. And then he got stumped. He looked around as if somebody could save him. Dead silence. There was this biker-looking guy who was standing right in front of him, long beard, full on. He's really playing the role. Skull cap, crossbones, everything. He leaned over like this to look behind him, but not all the way around. And he said, "Calling birds." This actually happened. 4 calling birds, 3 turtles, and he finished it out, and then he stopped. So in the Hollywood story of this version, this is where, right, we all would have joined in perfect 4-part harmony. We would have finished it up, would have faded to black. It would have been a beautiful thing. But this was real life. Everybody, though, there's a little more eye contact in the room. There's a much better spirit in the room, just because this brave soul did this. He added some light to the world. And can't we always use more light in our world? There's a lot of darkness out there. Have you ever been in a place or a time of real darkness? Have you ever been somewhere, wow, nice timing. Have you ever been somewhere, either physically or metaphorically, where it felt very dark? Maybe physically it was a cave or a closet, and your heart just started beating a little faster. Your breath got a little shallower. Or it could have been somewhere metaphorical. Could have been a time of loss, or high conflict, or violence, or even just depression. A dark, dark place. This is the world that Jesus was born into. The Jesus story isn't all sunshine and roses, is it? It has a lot of darkness. In all of the birth narratives, we have this darkness. We have the shepherds out tending their flock by night. We have the magi who travel this distance. And it needs to be by night because they have to follow a star. And then we have Joseph and Mary and Jesus in the stable. And it's not the pretty stable like we have on our mantles at home with one side gone, nice, bright and airy. This was a stable. 4 walls, dark, dank, damp, dirty. Certainly not a place where you want to bring a child into the world. And yet that's where Jesus was born. And boom, there is light in the darkness. And the darkness does not overcome, just like the scripture that Pam read earlier. Jesus was life, and that life was light for all people. The scripture tells us how that light was from the very beginning and is now, and I know, forevermore. And so in this service of light that you're going to participate in a minute, I invite you to reflect on where the dark places are in your life, in our world, and how the light of Jesus comes in and it disrupts that darkness. And think about how you hold that light in your very hands.